So I don't know anything about you. I've got like no prep notes or anything. So I
This could be
guess
the best interview ever then.
run me down the basics. Who you are, what you do, how many kids you got, marriage, and I guess why you reached out.
Okay. Well, actually, my assistant came across your platform or whatever, so she done all this stuff or whatever. So honestly, I haven't even looked y'all up. She's just like, oh, you got an interview for this day. Like, okay, podcast, cool, no problem. Like, I'm ready to go. But yeah, so I'm just a dad, full time dad of a congenital heart defect warrior. My son, he got a congenital heart defect. He has a feeding tube, and on our platform, we just do like a positive twist on his condition or whatever to bring more awareness and stuff like that, and to like let people know in his community and other communities that you're not in a fight alone no matter what condition you go through and stuff. And one of our pictures that we took a couple years ago went viral, and from that we just been on news channels, all type of other platforms. We've been in I don't know how many magazines and stuff like that or whatever. Then commercials as well. Then our biggest thing that we did was last year we was starring in our own Apple original Netflix. I'm no Apple original movie. It's called DADS. They're streaming on Apple TV now, and it's starring Jimmy Kimball, Conan O'Brien, Will Smith. It was directed by Bryce Dallas Howard. And it's just awesome. It's an awesome movie. It was about a bunch of great dads and stuff that dads go through in life and stuff like that, the highs and lows and stuff like that. We're one of the key stories in there, and everybody just reached out from there, and it just our platform just keep going up and up and up or whatever. So I'm roughly like an advocate for congenital heart defect, feeding tube, and like a little bit of special needs communities.
So what exactly is a congenital heart defect?
So my son was his congenital heart defect is called tetralogy of Fallot, where he's classified as, and he was born with like multiple holes in his heart, and
Okay.
we didn't find out till literally like we were about to leave the hospital, and one of the nurses, it was like a shift change, and one of the new nurse came in, and she just wanted to get a rundown of her checklist or whatever. She heard a strong murmur. She said it'd be like a 10% chance that anything be wrong with him. Okay, cool. Then when she came back after the test, she was like, well, I'm just let you know he falls into that 10% category, like something is wrong with him. And they wanted him to be like 10 months or like at least like 10 pounds because he was 5 pounds, 2 ounces when he was born. And they wanted him to be a little bit, a little bit older, have more weight up on his body before his first surgery. And he lasted every bit of like a week and a half, in our home or whatever, to where I had to rush him to Children's Hospital in Washington, D.C. Then from there, he just had multiple heart surgery after heart surgery after heart surgery or whatever. Then it was like a roller coaster to get him to some type of normalcy. And he's 7 years old and he yet to even make weight. He still got a feeder tube in his stomach. He on the sport had 2 open heart surgeries his whole life. He's about to have 3. He had another surgery, like a catheter surgery, something small, but he been through the ringer to where he had like a crooked neck, what's called torticollis. Some people have mild, some people have severe, the way your neck is like leaned to the side a lot because a muscle pulls up harder on one side than the next. He had that for a couple of years. He had home nurses, physical therapy. He went 8, 9 medicines. It was a lot for like the first
Yeah.
3, 4 years. And like I said, one of our viral pictures that we take is me actually standing in the mirror with him, and I glue like a feeding tube on me, and I take the picture and I just show his growth from his like roughly from when he was like a few months old all the way till now. And we just take that same picture over and over and over just to give it confidence, let other people know in his community that normalize his condition and stuff like that, because a lot of his people that's around that has this condition, they're always afraid to show their scars on their chest. They're afraid to show like their feeding tube and stuff like that or whatever. So we just try to make a little fun out of it, normalize as much as possible, and just let everybody know like he's just a normal kid. I treat him
Right.
normal. Yeah, I never did treat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never treated any other different. Like my son, he's in and everything: boxing, taekwondo, jujitsu, soccer,
Oh,
football,
nice.
everything. So his doctor set limits, and we just kind of bust through the limits. I'm like, that's cool, whatever. You say
Limit limits of like how much exercise you should be getting or things like that.
yeah, they're like limited to like anything he could do, like sports, activities, because
Okay.
the side effects of his condition is, your heart beats like 2 or 3 times faster than a normal heart. So you're always going to be tired. You're always going to be, sleepy and stuff like that. Your body turns blue, your lips turns blue or whatever. So you really don't never have the energy as a normal kid or whatever. And of course, you don't want to always be running, and make your heart even pump even faster, even more.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. So what platforms are y'all on?
Our biggest platform is Instagram, and then YouTube is next. I've been vlogging his life. His Instagram is called The Life of Chase Elijah. That's his name, Chase Elijah. And I just vlog his life from birth till now, for any and everything that we do or whatever, just to have like a digital diary. So he goes back in life, he can actually see the things that he been around, been into, all type of stuff. So now he's like a actor, a model now. So
Cool. How old are you?
I'm 36.
What do you do for a living?
I was a truck driver for 12, 13 years, then I transitioned from there to security guard.
Cool. Have you been doing that during this whole thing?
Yes, the whole pandemic, for the past year, some change now. So it's like a new career for me.
Okay. Fun stuff. Who are you truck driving for?
What is like I said, the worst, but the beginning companies are Swift.
Oh yeah, I've heard they're
Yeah.
they like to drive fast and reckless.
Yeah. Oh, right.
Yeah, they're a big one though. So you're driving like the real big rigs.
Oh yeah. I did probably like 38 states.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I've been all over. I don't do it no more. I just did it just to get me some experience. Just to
Sure.
Once I got the experience, I wanted to be more local. So after that, I started dealing with wounded warrior soldiers, and I did that for like the past 10 years.
What do you do with them?
Just roughly shuttle them to and from their appointments, like doctor's appointments and stuff like that, therapy and all that stuff. So that was like
some more local driving.
Yeah, more local driving. I honestly, I love that because you just meet people all over the world. All the stories they have or whatever, just crazy.
Yeah, that sounds.
Yeah.
I always thought it'd be fun, like just to do some Uber driving or something every once in a while, just to hear the stories.
Right.
So were you a dad when you were driving the big rigs?
Oh no. So I got off the road like a couple of years before that. My son was born in 2013. So I want to say I got off the road 2011, probably. Yeah, 11, 12. I got off the road. Yeah.
All right, I was about to ask how you made that work. Yeah, I know that's a tough life. Well, not a tough life, but it's tough to be a present dad when you're on the road 5-6 days a week.
Right.
All right, so this dad movie, that's probably got my interest most. So that was only on Apple?
Yeah, it's only on Apple TV.
Is there anywhere else to watch that?
No. I would normally what I tell people just to do the 7-day free trial. They're not gonna charge you at all. Just do the free trial or whatever, and cancel right before before the trial hits the
So I've got a thing against Apple. I mean, I know Apple's got like this hardcore fan base and almost like a cult following.
Right.
But man, to be an Apple user, you just have to be like in the entire ecosystem. You got to go all Apple or nothing. And so I finally just got because my wife likes Apple stuff, and I've just always been more on Android and PC.
Right.
And just our stuff was not interacting together, and it was the most frustrating thing. And so I finally just bought her we got her off her iPhone onto a S20.
Okay.
And finally her stuff works with our stuff.
Okay.
It's been maddening.
And the same thing here, man. That Apple ecosystem, and you're right by the cult following, because all I have is a Mac, and I got kind of persuaded into getting a Mac because I'm a video editor. So I do a lot of video editing and stuff like that. So my friend was like, man, you might want to get a MacBook to help you out, with editing a little bit better, get this program. I'm like, okay. And that's all I got. I just got a Mac, and I work my magic with that. But the Apple, it just, I don't know, it just don't do it for me. I've been Android since the beginning, and saying something like that. So,
and I've heard like their creative stuff is really cool, and so like a lot of people, if you're in anything creative, then you end up having to get all that stuff. And what else is it? Tech. So if you're making apps, making apps on the Apple system is so much easier
Yeah.
than making them for Android, because there's Android's got so many different variations, and it's much more complicated, I guess, to push out an app that way.
Yeah, that's what be killing me sometimes, because certain apps it's only exclusive to Apple. I'm like, oh man, I kind of like this, but I don't like it enough to buy a whole
Well, they always start off as Apple only, and then they get some money, and they
right.
they get all the other variations made. All right, so what was that movie about? I mean, I know you said you guys were kind of like the star of it. It just was it like a documentary that featured like 5 or 6 dads and the stories and
Yeah, it was a documentary. And each story was different. You had my good friend Glenn Herring. He was on there. He was a stay-at-home dad, and just talks about his whole how he started out from not liking his job to being went from that to a stay-at-home dad to now elevate his platform to where he's partnered with any and everybody now. Like my man is he's a whole celebrity now. And you had like the other foster dads, Rob and Reese. They was awesome. They're foster kids. And because they had a issue when one of them was growing up or whatever. He was in a foster home or whatever. And he just decided to dedicate his life to that to help other kids out and stuff like that. And then it the our story and other people's stories. And then you just had like celebrity cameos in there to have like a little comedic relief a little bit, because some of the stories can get emotional, and it's like a little roller coaster of a movie and stuff like that. But it was awesome being a part of it, and it just opened up some more doors to a few other celebrities. And mind you, I'm humble. I'm just a regular dad. Some people see me more than what I am, but I don't try to be. I'm just like, hey, I'm regular Robert, and I like to keep it like that. I just like to keep it like that. I like to go to the stores, shop, and come back. But when it's something like certain people recognize you, it could be a lot sometimes, man. It's cool.
That's always fun.
Yeah, it's cool with 1 or 2, people want to take pictures, but when it starts to be like a little crowd, I'm like, I just want to get some eggs. That's all I want, some eggs and milk.
Oh, that's fun. How long has it been since that came out?
Apple came out Father's Day last year, 2020.
Okay, so still relatively new.
Yeah.
So I guess that must have been a big boost to your YouTube and Instagram channels then.
Yeah, a little bit. And then it more like open up opportunities for like other platforms like Dove. Cause Dove was really a Dove movie, and then Apple bought the rights from Dove.
I don't even know what Dove is.
Dove Men Care, like the hair product.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and
they make movies.
Yeah.
shows what I know. I just thought it was a soap and shampoo company.
And me too. Until they came knocking on my door. I'm like, okay. They're like, well, how do y'all find me? Because they're good. The producer Walter, man, he's excellent. Man, he's a great guy, and he reached out to me through social media on Instagram, and he was like, hey, we got this movie. Actually, I'm sorry, Elizabeth reached out to me first. And she's like, hey, we got this movie. It's a documentary about dads. I want to see if you like to maybe want to be a part of it. And that's all she said. I'm like, okay, cool. Well, email me. We talk a little bit more about it. And so she did that. She's like, well, I got my other producer on here, Walter. We want to sit down and have like an interview with you for Skype. I'm like, all right, cool. Just like a 20, 30-minute interview. I'm like, no problem or whatever. And we just got on this to talking, and it went from 20 minutes to 2 hours, just talking about a lot of stuff, because they only saw my story from like face value. They didn't know like the really behind the scenes of like everything about me, about my son, and all that stuff that we went through, then even co-parenting. And he's like, wow, I really like your story or whatever. And he's like, well, we got like a lot of people that submitted and stuff. So I'm like, okay, I didn't know it was a submission line, for this movie.
Yeah.
So that's how much I didn't even know about it or whatever. And I asked him after he came, and we did the 3 or 4 day shoot, which was awesome. It was cool because you had cameramen follow you in and out of stores. They stop in traffic, so everybody stopping and looking like, who are these people? So made me feel like a little bit, oh snap,
Yeah.
Like, man,
the next Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah, right. I'm like, oh, okay. So and yeah, I asked him after the movie, like, how did y'all find me? He like, well, before we had like a casting out there, we were doing all the hard work ourselves. We were just Googling like super dads and wonderful dads and fun dads and viral dads. And he was like, I came up probably like 2 out of the 3 searches. So he was like, he saw me like a few times, just checked out like some of my social media, kind of lurking a little bit. And He just wrote my name down or whatever after doing that and doing my YouTube or whatever. He thought it was cool. And then, we just talked, and he called me back and got the gig.
That's cool.
Yeah. And I didn't know who gonna be. I didn't know who gonna be a part of it. I didn't know Bryce Howard was the director of it or whatever and stuff, man. Or any other celebrity is going to be in it. He just told me it's going to be a few dads. I'm like, okay, cool.
So they filmed for like what, 3 days, and then you just don't hear anything till it's released.
Yes. I heard a little bit after that. Like Walter, for some reason, he had like a liking to me to where he always talked. Like we talk every few weeks. And in between his interviews, he's like, "Oh, I'm out of the country right now, interviewing this dad." My good friend Thiago, he was in Brazil, and he was like, I'm over in Brazil, interviewing this. I'll be back. Hit you on up. Anytime he stay in New York, so anytime we go to New York for like casting and other business stuff or whatever, I always hit Walter up to the point that the camera crew, the mic guy, like we actually got keys to their apartment. So like, anytime you're in New York.
That's funny.
Like, you don't need to pay for no hotel, man. It's like, crash here, man, do your business or whatever, interviews or whatever, get on out of town. Like, okay, I appreciate it, man. So yeah, they're good friends.
That's fun. So Dove Skincare has a film company.
Yeah.
Discovers you and puts you on Apple. That's awesome.
Right. To me,
it's a fun story.
Yeah, regular dad.
So you mentioned co-parenting.
Mm-hmm.
So does that mean you and your wife split, or was it never a wife situation?
Oh no, yeah, it was never that situation. Me and her was always like good friends and stuff like that. And and I don't have no problem telling the story that when she told me that she was pregnant, I was like the typical dad or man or whatever, like, it ain't mine, get rid of it, have an abortion, don't ever talk to me. I blocked her on everything. She blocked me because, mind you, before then, we never we never had no issue. We never argued, never fussed. We were just great friends or whatever. So for me to talk to her like that, it was like a shock to her. And she was like, I can't believe he even said this or text this to me. Like after, like 5 or 6 years, like this is crazy. But then, after a while, a few months later, I came to my senses or whatever. And I honestly, I felt bad the day that I texted all that. It just took me a while to get the confidence up or whatever, and like, what, you messed up, go ahead and just talk to her, and I reached on out to her, and then we sat down. I told her just like, I don't want you to say nothing at all, I just want you to listen to me. And I apologize, I said all the things I need to say, and I told her, I'm like, if you ever give me a second chance, you'll never regret it. And so she gave me a second chance. We just never looked back. And and again, I tell everybody, like, it will probably really hurt me more if I would found out that she went through all that, with our son, and I wasn't present or whatever, or I found out later on in life, that would really hurt me the most or whatever and stuff. He's my only child. I only had one, one in a boy. He's my only child, and hers as well. And so for her to go through all that, without that support, it probably tore me on up. But she gave me a second chance, and we just great, awesome. No drama, no issues, don't argue, don't fuss. Like every Sunday we sit down, we talk, and another thing, we do live together. So we co-parent.
Oh, okay.
We co-parent, we live together, we're roommates. So, we all got our separate rooms, and we just raise our child, together and stuff, and, run our business together.
Okay. All right. So now I'm curious. So how does that work? Like, are you guys like quasi dating then, or like, are you still dating other people and just happen to live in the same house? Like, what's the?
Yeah, we date other people, but our rule is, we don't really bring the outside inside. Okay. If you're gonna do whatever, you keep it outside the door, because this is like our happy space, and stuff like that. Like we don't. When I say we don't have no drama, we don't have no drama. And sometimes getting other people to understand that, because like, well, how does that work? Like, just look at it as we are good friends. Just so happy we just had a kid way before all this happened or whatever. But that's it. Like good friends, co-parenting, and she's my business partner with any and everything as well or whatever. So we just gel together.
Yeah, that's smart too. I mean, creating those like strong boundary lines. The way you put it was perfect. This is our happy place. Don't screw it up.
Don't at all. And she know that if any dude knock on our door, he'd have met all of her qualifications to where I really don't even have to like interview him or whatever, because I know how strict she is and how protective she is of our space and stuff like that, and vice versa or whatever. So,
Okay.
yeah.
So you find out you're having a kid with a friend.
Mm.
Didn't like it. Didn't like the thought of it.
Yeah.
So what was the catalyst to change to where like you kind of came around? Was it just time, or like did your dad talk to you, or like was it you saw a Will Smith movie or something and just a tearjerker? Like what was the thing that made you, I guess, shift mindsets?
Honestly, it was really none of that. It was just, my own insecurity and just probably just being more scared than anything, because I guess I wanted to, to get married and enjoy that for a few, I wanted to be in a relationship, then get married for a few years, then maybe set up a family, then of course you always think about, your age or whatever. My son, he was born when I was 30. I felt like I wanted to like start a family when I'm like 35, 36, like, cause I stay active and stuff like that. So it really, kid on, kind of slow me down a little bit. And it just, this happened unexpectedly, but I can't even say that because, when you had unprotected sex, you already know it's going to come with that. So, even 2 days a kid or maybe an STD. So hopefully it's not an STD.
Yeah.
but, and, so everybody, when people are like, well, I didn't plan for that. Well, you should have strapped up, so for anything after that. But again, it was just me being, scared. And then on top of that, I was talking to another girl. So me and my son mom, we started having sex maybe like a good 2 months. And then I wanted to start dating. I ran into another female or whatever. And when she told me that, I'm like, man, I've been chasing this girl for I don't know how long. I finally got her. And you come out the side, somebody, you're pregnant now. And I'm like, no, that can't be, man. Like, we stopped like a couple of months ago. It's like, well, yeah, I just realizing that now,
Yeah.
So I'm
Not
like,
an instantaneous notice. Yeah.
right, so I'm like, oh my goodness, man. So, it was just one thing after another and stuff. And I guess I wanted, the fruit that was on the other side of the fence more than I wanted to, man up and take care of my responsibilities and stuff. And like I said, I regretted it the day that I sent the text, but I just couldn't, gather my confidence up enough just to tell her, apologize, I'm sorry, and talk to her and stuff like that. So it took like 2-3 months, but I'm just happy that she didn't listen to her friends, because she had a lot of her friends in her ear. I take it down to the court. I know the lawyers. I will file the paperwork, put him on child support. He ain't this, he ain't that, he ain't this. Fast forward now, I'm the dad of the year. I wish my baby daddies would like you or like Rob, but he is so awesome and amazing. Look at all the things he do with your son and stuff. I'm like, yeah, this is me, man. I love my son to death, man. So I go to all his appointments, everything.
So how many? I guess how many months along was she when you kind of turned that corner and kind of came back and asked for forgiveness?
I think she was probably like 4 or 5 months. But then I didn't tell my family till when I said she was about to like do or whatever.
Yeah, that's
So
funny.
yeah, so but once my family found out, there was all excited. They were more mad about like, why did you never tell us? I'm like, it just took me a while to like, even just to make sure me and her are on good terms or whatever, to like let everybody else know or whatever. And then my family didn't find out the whole truth till the movie came out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that didn't want my son and nothing like that. That's all I didn't know is our presence since day one. So
Oh, that's funny.
yeah.
So that 4 or 5 months mark. So do you guys move in together at that point and start like prepping to have a baby and that kind of stuff, or did that happen later?
That happened. I think right before. I think right before he was born, that happened, and that happened because my I had my own place, but my sister um, she was getting a divorce, so she would ask me could I move in with her just to help out with the bills. So I'm like, okay, you know what? They help me save money, help you save money, cool. And I was staying with her for a while. Then next thing you know, she met like another guy up to move. I'm like, ho ho ho! You told me to give me time to save up, man. It came just like that. And so I'm like, hey, I'm about to be, ass out. So at that time, man, her was really cool. So she gave me, a proposition. She's like, well, hell, how about, you just live with me, sleep on the couch for a while, and when you get your money up, you go ahead and move on out. And so we was in a 1 bedroom for at least like a good year or two, and I was sleeping on the couch the whole time. Then the time that I about to move on out, she asked me again, she's like, well, you're a good roommate. How about we just get a bigger place, and we just all have our room and this all works for each other or whatever. I'm like, I do want my own space, but what are the rules and regulations? And she's like, oh, she just book it on down to me. I'm like, oh, that's too easy. Cool. We just moved on in, got a bigger place, moved on in, and the rest is history.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So I know with anytime there's like a special needs situation, two things come up. Well, I guess it's really one thing, but finances I know can be just crippling.
Oh, yeah.
And then the other situation that may ease that is insurance. So were you guys on did someone have decent insurance that you guys were able to, I guess, get most of this covered, or is this just something you've really had to figure out a way to make it work financially?
So I got insurance and got him covered right under me, like literally like right after he was born. And then to find out that he had the health issues, there was a whole nother thing as well, because my insurance at the time didn't want to cover that. So I had to, get outside of my character. Normally I'm always happy, go lucky, but when you start to push those buttons, I get on the phone, start talking crazy. So, and I had to like cuss a few people out. I'm like, I don't care about your rules and regulations, but I feel like you're so used to even saying these words, you're not even trying to listen to me. You're so programmed to like, so you hear something, oh yeah, we don't got this, we got it next. I'm like, no, you're gonna listen to me or whatever. So we had to do like jump a lot of hurdles just to even get him covered. But at 5 months old, he was at like $1.5 million in hospital bills. That's
a lot.
That's at 5 months. His first year, I think it was like over $2 million. I haven't even looked, since then or whatever. But after a while, his my insurance covered it. Then he got filed as like long-term disability. So then he got insurance. So his insurance covers a lot of stuff or whatever. But even one of his medicines, Maya told you he was on 8 medicines. One of his medicines costs $1,000, and he got to take that twice a year. So it's crazy.
Thanks.
Yeah. So, but
does insurance cover all that kind of stuff too, or is there still some things you guys got to come out of pocket on?
Oh no, it's roughly his insurance covers everything.
That's good.
Yeah, I don't know when the last time we actually had to pay for anything or whatever and stuff, but it's been probably some years. But we might get like a bill in the mail for like 50 cents or $1. So
okay. Sorry, most of my kids went to the beach. I have one who's playing with his friend in the back.
Okay.
Where's I going with that? All right. So it's really just medicines and surgeries and doctor appointments, things like that. He doesn't have like wheelchairs or any like physical equipment or anything he needs.
Oh no, like he does have his pump, his feeding tube machine that he takes every night. Even though he's still underweight, but when you see him, I categorize him as like a lemon, like a car lemon. Like on the outside you got the shiny wheels, it's tinted. The car's all waxed up or whatever. It's look clean on the outside, but when you pop the hood, the transmission messed up. The alternator messed all up or whatever. Might need some oil, and that's how he is or whatever. Like on the outside, you see him, oh, he just so normal. But when you start talking to other parents about him, like, oh, I did not know, he had this or had that or whatever and stuff. So even though I normalize him much as possible, he still hasn't, like I said, met his goals in life or his weight and his heart.
So what causes that? Because I'm like a heart. Like, is it just suppresses appetite, or is his heart working so hard it's just burning more calories than normal? Or are there other side effects from having a heart issue that I guess that are coming forth?
So what I learned is it's not hereditary or nothing. It's just sometimes your heart just doesn't grow fully. Some people be born with a half of a heart. Some people born with hearts outside their body and stuff like that. Some of them born with a few holes in their heart. I got one of my good friends, she didn't find out she had a heart condition till she literally passed out at 3 years old on the playground. And she kept on saying, like, her heart's hurt or she's always tired. And her doctor diagnosed her with just having asthma because she was overweight or whatever. But kind of find out, she had to get cut open and get, heart surgery and stuff at 3 years old. I know one of my old coworkers, he found out he had a heart condition at 50 years old. So you're like, man, y'all always tired all my life or whatever, but did not know I had holes in my heart. So
yeah,
at a physical stuff. So at 50,
that's crazy.
But the reason why he has a feeding tube, because me as a parent, I'm new to it. I did not know. I thought, when your child is born, you stick a pacifier bottle in their mouth, they suck all that stuff down or whatever. I did not know you actually had to teach and train your kid how to suckle and stuff. So when he was little as a baby, he never learned that because, like I said again, at a week and a half, 2 weeks old, he got rushed to the hospital. He was in the hospital with IVs in his arm. So that was giving him all he needed or whatever, to where he never had to work for anything orally. Like, he's always full, always good. So when it was time to take the IVs and stuff out and try to wing them on off, he just wasn't having it. He's like, nah, man, I like this, what y'all were doing the first time. I like this a little bit better, man. Y'all got me working for this. Nah, man, I want to sit back, and be lazy. So, and that was another thing too with the insurance, because after a while, the insurance, they cut our insurance because they were like, well, he spent his whole recovery in there. He had his surgeries, and he's only in there for feeding, and we're just not going to pay for that. But I'm like, well, he's not eating, and they're not trying to let him leave the hospital without eating properly or whatever. And some days he do good, and some days he do bad. But he was never on a track where he always was doing good and graduating. So the doctors didn't like the fact that he had what is called an NG tube, like one of the tubes to go up your nose and down to your stomach and stuff like that. He had that, and the doctors were like, we're not going to send him home with that, because they sent a kid home like a couple years, I guess, before then, and the kid wound up passing away. So it was like a lawsuit or something like that or whatever. So they were like, ever since then, you got to have like a trained nurse on duty or whatever at all times if you're going to send somebody home with an NG tube, far as I think DC Children's Hospital DC laws. So I'm like, okay, so our next thing was to get a feeding tube in his stomach was a little bit better. And so that's the only way that insurance will allow us to stay a little bit longer to cover that. So that's why he had a feeding tube. And then again, this wasn't picking up weight at all.
So how about now? So is he all through a feeding tube, or does he eat some?
Oh yeah. He eats orally probably 95% of the time. It just, when he doesn't eat a lot throughout the day, we just offset that with his pump at nighttime or whatever to get his calories and stuff up, stuff like that.
It's because you're up in Virginia. You bring him down south here, fried everything, and we'll put some meat on him real quick.
When I say he's on some crazy diets, man, it's like fattening food and stuff. I'm like, no, because I don't want all that greasy stuff and this, but the doctor's like, oh, you could put him on this, or you could bake this, and you don't have to fry that. And the doctor said that he's just a split image of me. It's like, man, you're 36 years old. You look like you weigh like 100 pounds. I'm like, oh man, thanks doctor for hurting my feelings, because I want to get bigger. Yeah. I want some weight on my body. So I think about getting a G2.
You just need to come down and get some barbecue down south. That's all you need.
Right.
Barbecue 3 times a day. That's my weakness. I just discovered down here we're like right next to Mexico. Like I could throw a rock at Mexico. What is it called? Tamales. I just discovered. I don't know if you've ever had them before.
No.
They're quite amazing.
Okay.
And they'll stick to your ribs too.
Okay. Like hot tamales and stuff?
No, they're there's all different ones. They're like meat, chicken, cheese, all sorts of stuff. But they wrap them with some sort of like flour stuff, and then they cook them in banana leaves or corn husks, and they steam them. And then you just get all these like different sauces you put on them, and I don't know, it's just good. I don't even know a way to explain. I just, like 2 days ago, I had my first tamale. Like our neighbors brought a bunch home, and like people sell them at like little roadside stands here, and they're just, I don't know, man, they're just good.
Yeah. So that's your weakness.
Food is my weak. Like we've been traveling now for 8 months, and I'm basically on a tour of the country trying out different foods.
Oh wow!
And it's been awesome. And I'm not a small guy to begin with. I probably 8 months. I probably put on a solid 40 pounds.
Oh man!
Because I'm not working out, and like it's just been a different life, on the road, and a lot of eating out of restaurants. Because if I'm gonna be in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, I'm gonna try some of the top restaurants there, because I might never be back. So I'm putting it on hard. But man, I'm eating some good food. There's a barbecue place in Austin, Texas called I forget now, Fredericks or something like that.
Uh-huh.
And it's just like world class. Like I've probably eaten at 30 or 40 barbecue places around the country now, like the top ones in each city.
Yeah.
And it was like by far the best. Like blew away anything I tasted in Kansas City or down in Mississippi or Georgia or Florida. I mean, it was just world class. I'm sidetracking now. You can do that with food anytime. All right. So what do you do for work now? Your security, did you say?
Yeah, I'm in security, and then right now we kind of in the process of starting our own nonprofit. So that's taking like a lot of toll on me, just getting everything started and the red taping and stuff like that, reaching out to a lot of people. So and then
I was
again,
about to say, because you had an assistant. You said you had an assistant earlier. So is
yeah,
she assistant like for the security stuff, or is she assistant for the like your platforms and?
my platforms, my platform.
Okay.
So she'll find stuff because roughly I do everything. I'm a one man machine. I probably get maybe like 4 hours of sleep, if that or whatever. I love being busy, so I'm always emailing people, trying to reach out to the next collaborating or whatever, trying to get like sponsorships, all type of stuff, just to kind of grow our brand a little bit more and stuff like that. So we got a lot of good things coming on the horizon this year. It took a little toll on us last year, but we just push stuff over to 2021. So, right now we're just trying to work on a nonprofit and, just get the ball rolling with that, reach out to people.
So what does what does a nonprofit do?
This is our, so again, when we went viral, and I was doing an interview, I think it was Fox, and I was telling them that, as long as I'm breathing, that, my son would never be in a fight alone. And from that, I just took that motto, the alpha, never in a fight alone. And I just started like running with it or whatever and stuff like that. So we just gonna, again, like let people know, no matter, what you're going through in life, to your highs, to your lows, you could be, marriage and counseling, domestic abuse, therapy, you could be homeless, recovering alcoholic, special needs, no matter what, you always have a community to where you can always go to help you on out in life and stuff like that. Your friends, family, and stuff like that. So just that's roughly kind of what it symbolized that you're never in a fight alone. So we're trying to work on that as well this year.
Okay. What's the foundation called?
Never in a fight alone. NIAFA. NIFA. I'm sorry, NIAFA. And it stands for Never Fight Alone.
Never in a fight alone.
Yes.
Okay, not the fight alone. Got it. Oh, you know what? That's right. Because I remember this was in your email signature.
Yeah. Yes.
And if it pulled it up, it was like North American Association of Financial Advisors or something like that.
Wow.
And I'm like, I wonder who's reaching out to me. So you guys, I don't know how big your platforms are. I haven't seen them yet. So you guys making some money on those things?
Oh, not yet. So that's my hiccup now. So when my thing is, I feel like when you got people to go viral, you got people to go super viral, and people to go super viral is the ones that get their endorsements or get the sponsorship where people are knocking down their doors. We just went like a little viral, and I just really never did nothing with it because I thought, like, me not knowing nothing about that, because again, I never really chose to go viral. I just did the picture, like I said, again, just to show support towards my son. The right person saw it, just reposted it on their page or whatever, and it just spread like wildfire and stuff like that. And then like, okay, that's cool. That's gonna last and last and last. It didn't only last a little bit to where you had to kind of keep feeding the flame or whatever. And it took me till like last year to kind of stop my my 9 to 5 and really start putting more time into this or whatever. So I'm learning how to market a little bit better and email it and reaching on out to the right people and stuff. Now I got a little bit of celebrity contacts, and it's crazy how I really don't deal with Apple like that, but I got a whole lot of Apple contacts, like for marketing and like
I'm checking out your page now.
Yeah, like social media and stuff. So
damn, you got some abs.
Oh, trying what? That was 2017. That was 2017. Ask me now. I got more ribs than anything.
That's a good looking page.
Yeah.
Good looking boy.
Yeah. That's
see all the dad stuff. I'm gonna have to find a way to watch that. That sounds cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's see the YouTube channel now. Where's YouTube? Right here.
Yeah, I stopped posting on that, but I got it's crazy because I got maybe like 40 new videos. I just haven't released to the public yet, man. So I'm just been sitting on them.
What are you waiting for?
Because I wanted to, because I released 3 videos a week, so I wanted to have at least a lot already, ready to go. So just in case I might get sidetracked or whatever, I still have some, in a cut or whatever. And I feel like I just haven't made that mark yet. I said, okay, I'll get to like 40, I'll be good. And like, I just never released them. So in my year, I already shot new video off a new video, and just even for like Black History Month, me and my son did 33 videos in 3 days. So we just be nonstop working. So I just posted one on our story. It's supposed to be all for all Black history, and then this month is for his feeding tube awareness and congenital heart defect awareness month. So we got like a few videos, a few people trying to partner with us for the feeding tube awareness, feeding tube awareness month and congenital heart defect week. So this is the roughly our month. I get excited for.
Nice idea. So I was not aware of that week.
Yeah. So it's I think feeding tube is the 5th through the 14th, and no, congenital heart defect I think it's like the 5th through the 14th, and feeding tube is the 8th through the 15th, like that.
Okay. Yeah. Is there a certain point, like, is this just going to be a scenario if he has surgeries the rest of his life, or is there a point to where like there is a finish line and he gets to like just be done having I guess surgeries and medicines and whatnot?
Well, honestly, he was on, like I said again, he was only supposed to have 2 his whole life. One his first year of life, then the second was supposed to have been like 20, 30s, maybe even 40s. They all, every year he get a checkup just to see if everything good with his heart. And for him to have 2 unexpected surgeries, it would just, you just never know. So okay. right now his third one is supposed to be his second one. So roughly his third one is going to be, hopefully, if not at all, they're going to push it to like, 20s, 30s, and 40s just to check up on it. But he's going to have what they call a valve replacement. Because, as you grow or whatever, his valve gets, stretched on, I get weaker and weaker. So they have to put like a valve replacement in there, So. But hopefully the doctor told me that it won't be as severe as his first 2 heart surgeries or whatever. Because, yeah, he was... I tell people, like, I literally saw my son's heart. Like he swelled up so much that it couldn't close his chest. So they had to put this clear patch over his chest or whatever till they drain all the fluid off his body. So he was.
Oh, I've heard of those.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Yeah, he was on 24 to 48 hour. He was on 24 to 48 hours high risk alert to where he could have caught pneumonia, any type of infections and all that type of stuff, man. So it was just scary. Like, mind you, just holding me in your hands, just being born, till they snatching away, cut him all open. I'm looking down, seeing his heart was pumping. I'm like, it was just crazy. It was crazy.
Gosh, I imagine there's a ton of fear in those moments. I mean, just anxiety and whatnot.
Right.
I couldn't even imagine.
Yeah. And mind you, like, my family always been healthy, never had no issues and stuff like that. So when this came around, it was just new to me, from being just a normal parent, and it just came out of nowhere and stuff, man. So it was just something different, I had to work through
it. So you guys are living at home, it's kind of a happy family, but separate lives kind of situation. Mm-hmm. Man, you guys could have your own reality TV show. It sounds interesting.
I'm trying to work. I'm trying to sell it to these companies, man.
Yeah. Are one of you two working from home, I guess?
No. So my schedule is I'm 4 to midnight. So roughly, while I'm home, she's at work, and then when she comes home, we just high five each other. I'm on out the door.
Okay. So, that works out.
Yeah, it does. No, really, after school or before and after school care and stuff like that.
So you come back. What? You come back at midnight, 1 o'clock. How much sleep do you get before?
Before that.
You don't need sleep. You told me you don't need it.
Yeah, like I said, roughly when I get home, I probably stay at least like probably 3, 4 o'clock. And then, like I said, I think my alarm go off to wake him up probably like 8 o'clock. And I'm just up since then, and back in my office, networking, emailing, replying to emails, trying to find the next little thing for us. Like I said again, trying to sell our story. Hopefully get on a reality show for co-parenting.
There you go. Do those exist?
Yeah, I know, right? If not, we're gonna be the first one.
I'm about, I'm about to say nowadays you could probably just buy some cameras and start filming and just make it yourself.
Right, and that's
You
what
know?
we doing. I got a whole like my apartment's like a whole studio setup from the lights to the cameras to the mics to all type of stuff. Man, I got my own, like I say, indoor studio and stuff like that. So just trying to make it, man.
I get it. Man,
Yeah,
I wish I had a studio. We're in an RV, so it's like everything's multi-use. And if I have a $3,000 camera sitting out, there's a solid chance that camera's going to end up on the ground in pieces.
oh yeah, yeah.
It's just, and I finally we sold two of our chairs, and I swapped out with a desk. So that's what I'm actually sitting at now. So I just got a desk like 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
Like other than that, it's been like sitting on a bed or outside on a picnic table, and
Um,
I just didn't have a place, and it's been driving me crazy. I'm not used to working like that. I'm used to having an office and all my stuff spread out everywhere. And
so how long you been doing the RV?
8 months.
Okay.
Yeah, we left May 12th and haven't seen home in 8 months.
Oh wow. Oh, okay. So y'all literally have a home, but y'all just doing the travels around.
Yeah, so we plan on we're calling it a tour.
Okay.
It's COVID, so we can't have events or anything.
Right.
Although that's starting to ease up. I think we might start pushing that way again. But we decided we would tour for 2 years, promote the brand, and go see the country and have some fun. And when it comes time to come back, we'll either keep going,
Right.
extend it, or end it early if it's just going horribly. And so far, we've liked it. We've had a lot of it. It's an interesting life because there's a lot of families. I did not know this until I got out here. There's a lot of families that live full time in RVs and
Okay.
just travel the country. And like, it's not like for a year or two, they just live that way.
Oh wow.
And it's fascinating because I mean, they see a ton of the country and they just it's such a different lifestyle.
Yeah.
It's truly fascinating.
I,
And so now we're like kind of those people.
yeah. I did not know that. Okay.
Yeah.
Got a
Yeah.
whole. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. So you haven't seen the gosh, yeah, we RVs, you have to get on the channel.
Okay.
So 100% Dad is the YouTube channel. 100% Dad is the YouTube channel. And then the website's 100dad.com, and the most of the handles are at 100dad.
Okay.
So somehow your assistant found us. I don't know what she was looking for.
Right. Yeah. And sometimes I like when she be finding stuff or whatever, it more be just like either like on Insta stories or whatever, to where they just have a bunch of stuff, or somebody might be an ad that go across or whatever. It's like, oh, interesting or whatever. So and normally she already know, like she wouldn't have to ask me to be a part of stuff. She just like, yo, I got you set up for this. Okay.
That's right, because she didn't give me any background or anything either. So she just stuck two of us
right.
on camera,
Yeah,
just figuring out who the heck we are.
yeah, like because I always check the emails or whatever, so I just saw that I had something coming on up. I'm like, okay, and I didn't really ask her too much about it. I thought everything was always straightened on out or whatever, but okay.
Yeah, there we go.
I got it.
That's funny. So I guess so you want to do a reality TV show, it sounds like. You think that'd be fun, and more on the co-parenting side. So I guess what are you guys doing from a co-parenting standpoint that you think is really working well and you'd advise for others? And at the same time, what are some things that you guys have tried that have been epic fails and you would recommend people not do?
So the one thing, it took us a while to do is, and I think I just put one of the videos out probably like a few weeks ago or whatever, just for just like listening. Well, this is more like listening to my son, but it kind of correlates to communication, because I come across a lot of, some of my friends or some people I see or whatever that, if you can't, they feel like if you can't be boyfriend or girlfriend or husband and wife, then, you can't be a good parent or whatever. And like I said, this is far from the truth. I know when I told my grandmother about, my son, about my son mom getting pregnant or whatever, having a baby, the first thing she said was she was happy. Then the second thing she said, like, oh, well, I know you're gonna go ahead and marry her, right? And I'm like, no. She said, no, you're gonna marry her. I'm like, why? Come on, you need to do right by her. And I'm like, me marrying her doesn't necessarily mean I'm gonna be a bad dad or a bad parent or whatever. That's totally two different things. I don't never want to be forced to feel like I gotta marry somebody because she has my kid or whatever and stuff like that. Like we could be great together, aside for going together or being boyfriend and girlfriend or whatever. And I feel like sometimes society got all these rules and regulations of what a man should do, what a woman should do, what their place is in in society and stuff like that. And it's far from the truth because now women are independent. They're running their own business. They're running their own household. I got one good friend that she's the mom and the dad, and she got a husband. He just really did do like all the financial stuff. But she's like, yeah, I do this, I cook, I clean, I play with the boys, I take them outside, I go to all the events or whatever. You just take care of all the financial stuff, man. Make sure they bills are good, they're straight, everybody credit is straight and stuff like that or whatever. And they work out good or whatever. So I just learned that sometimes society rule doesn't work with us. So we just try to like to put our own little spin on it and break their own barriers and stuff like that. And that's one thing we have done for us communication. Like we always communicate. Like I say, every Sunday we sit down and we just talk about any and everything, like life, what we expect from each other, what's going on with each other life, because sometimes we be so busy in our week. So like I say, like when she come to the door, it's a high five, a hug, I'm going to work or whatever. So we really don't talk as much because once I get at work, I'm nonstop deep diving into either editing, doing my job, networking or whatever. So I'm all over the place. So when we have our time together, we just really kind of like digest the whole week or whatever, and just talk about like moving forward, like other great ideas, what could work, what probably can't work, if any issues with us, because she knows and I know that Monday starts a new day. I don't want to hear about 2 3 weeks ago you was mad at me about something or whatever. Like you could have told me back then. And one thing, like I said, we learned is you got to have that ear to listen, but also that brain to just like understand and see where that person coming from, because we're not always gonna be right, we're not always gonna be wrong, and you're so quick to try to get your point across the way y'all both talking over top of each other and nobody's getting nowhere. Then everybody getting fed up or frustrated, and then they get mad for a couple of hours or whatever. But we always call it a table. And anytime we talk about something to get me like a little bit frustrated, I say, okay, I'm a little bit mad about that, but you know what? Just give me like a day or so to think about it, and that'll be that for that topic. But we still be laughing and joking or whatever. I don't be mad about her, like whatever she told me. I don't be like I don't be harping over that the whole day or whatever. I like, what? Just let me think about it. What's next? And we just watching movies, laugh and joke, talk about whatever and stuff like that. So I just try to always tell people like communication is one thing. And society rules, man. You not always gotta like really go by them. You got your own house, you live how you want to live. If the man want to be a stay-at-home dad and do everything that he feel like society say the woman should do, cool. If that works for them, it works for them. If the woman wants to do all these things, I'm not a judge. Like I just know what works in our household, and this doesn't work for everybody, because some people like, no, I can't do that. I can't have a kid with somebody, then live with them, and they got girls running in and out. I'm like, well, I don't have girls running in and out, but but yeah.
I think you're 100% right. There's more than one way to be a good dad and even a good family. And I think trying to force one way or your way because it works for you well onto other people is, a little asinine.
Right.
I think you guys have tremendous. I'm trying to think of the word. Tremendous. I don't know, maybe perspective. I mean, the fact that you guys can be so aware of how important communication is in the relationship, to make sure you have a day every week to kind of sit there and cover it, because life does move fast and you get busy, and to make sure you're making time to communicate, to make sure that you're addressing everything and it's not just sweeping things under the rug or ignore the white elephant in the room and address it now or forever hold your peace.
Right.
It's just such tremendous awareness. I mean, those are incredible hot tips for a well-functioning marriage.
Right.
I mean, really, because even in married life, like life gets busy and you're working and you're doing stuff, you're running kids around, and especially when there's multiple kids. And man, divorce rates spike at around the 25-year anniversary, and it usually corresponds with empty nesters. All the kids leave. Life has been so busy for 20, 25 years, life's been all about, running the kids around. The husband and wife really don't even know each other anymore. And then all of a sudden they're stuck in a house and they're like, who are you? 3 decades ago, you weren't like this. And,
Right.
and I don't know what you've evolved to become. And it's interesting. And you guys have that figured out. That's super smart.
Yeah, I even do it with my I even do it with my son. Like I sit down with him, from time to time, and I always like talk to him and ask him like, am I being a great dad to you? Am I being a great friend? How can I be better? What are the things that you probably don't like that I do? Because as a parent, you always think you're the adult, the kid should listen and do as you say. But your kid is your own person too, or whatever. So they might see stuff differently than you, to where you like, yo, stop running. To them, be like, oh, my dad don't never want me to play, or my parent don't never want me to run around. Like, no, stop running, because cars are going both ways, or it's a lot of stuff going on. And if you run, you might fall and hurt yourself. So you got to explain a little bit more to a kid, stuff like stop, don't listen to me, and stuff like that.
Explain the why.
Yeah, why. Yep. And I always talk to him at least a few times, just asking like, everything good with us, man? He like, no, yeah, no, you hurt my feelings. I'm like, why? What do you feel like I hurt your feelings on? And he'll tell me or whatever, and I listen to him like, okay, I can understand where you're coming from. Like, all right, I got you. I say, I could try to be a little bit better, not trying to like be aggressive with my tone or whatever and stuff like that. And one thing I post on my page is our yes and yes, sir. So he knows that anytime I say yes to him, he automatically knows that he only got 50% of my attention. But if I say yes, sir to him, he knows that daddy got 100. I got 100% of daddy attention or whatever. That means like, again, I put down my device, I stop typing, editing, and whatever. He got my undivided attention, because sometimes he'd be like, daddy. I still be on my phone like, yo, what's up? I'm listening to him, but I'm not really paying attention to him.
Yeah.
And to him, that contact, that body language, that means all the better to him or whatever, because that means like, whatever I say is important. But if you don't really pay attention to me, just feel like, whatever. Like I could tell him there's anything going on, in his mind. It could be something where he's super excited about, and I'm hearing him or whatever. But to him, it's like, oh, it ain't that important, because daddy's not stopped doing what he's doing or whatever. So I always make sure that he knows if I say like, he like, dad, I'm like, yes, sir. He knows, and vice versa. Because if I call him, he'd be like, yes, yes, yes. I keep calling his name till I get a yes, sir out of him. Like, yes, sir. I'm like, okay, that's what I want. You focus. So like, yeah, I'm focused. So
yeah, not on that autopilot mode.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's smart. That's smart. So we put out a bunch of content of because I guess when you're talking to dads, you're always talking to different dads, and when you're putting out a meme, it's only going to apply to certain dads. And if that meme doesn't apply to you, of course we get it to where people are offended by that, like how dare you? But right. So I try and hit both sides of, like, I am so okay with a dad being a hard ass. Like, yes. I'm okay with that. I think there's a very important place for discipline and structure, and I think they're very good things. At the same time, I think those hard ass dads need to be able to have those heart to heart moments, those tender moments, those loving moments with their kids, and have that strong bond and that strong relationship where the kid can come with them, or can come to them with anything, something embarrassing, something awkward, something scary. Right. When I was raised, it was always, I'm your dad, not your best friend, or not your friend, is my way or the highway kind of thing. Which, I strongly think there's a place for that. I'm actually very much an advocate of that. Just, but there are times you should be the best friend, and then, I've talked to a few dads where I kind of warn them how, from a kid's, like, don't listen to everything a kid says. Mm-hmm. Because kids have a much different perspective. Like, you're 36. Yes. You have a much different perspective in the world. You've seen a lot more. You understand a lot more, where they can bring in some good stuff. But kids are really selfish. Oh, yeah. And they're super short-sighted. And they know how to play parents for their benefit. Right. And they've seen enough Disney movies and tearjerkers to know how to really pull at your emotions and your heartstrings. And so I kind of warn them about that. You can't get too cuddly and too friendly and not have the discipline and the structure and that, hard assness. because they'll take full advantage of it.
Right.
They really will. They're clever. They're smart.
And that's what my son got in trouble like yesterday about. I'm like, dude, if I said no, it's across the board. And he'll try to sneak in there and talk to his mom, like whisper
Mhm.
a little bit or whatever. And so now at first she used to be like, oh yeah, sure, sure, sure. Then once I kind of got on her a little bit, which is not her fault, but I just told her like, well, he already asked me that. So now we come in and ask her, the first thing she said, what did your dad say? Did you ask your dad? And sometimes he's like, oh no, I never asked him. Just like, well, I asked him. So what did he say? So that why you think my answer would change? Like whatever dad answer is, dad answer. Whatever mom answer is, that's mom answer and stuff like
It's
that.
a united front, yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
that's I mean, it's great advice for a mom and dad, and the fact that you guys can pull it off co-parenting.
yeah.
I know that probably becomes one of the most difficult things for divorced parents
Mhm.
is especially if it starts to get nasty and a little contentious is then they're trying to buy kids off essentially by doing exactly what the other parent said no to,
Right.
and and doing it only for the reason to spite the other parent.
Right. And
It's that stuff gets so stupid.
that's one thing I made sure I didn't want the one thing I always want to be a present dad or whatever. Like I said, I think it's nothing. It's nothing. It's no knock to my son, mom. It's just her scheduling with her job to where I normally take her to all his appointments. I think I probably took him at least probably like 90% of his all his appointments. And mine, he used to have appointments, whew, like 3 to 4 appointments a week for at least like a good 2 3 years, and that was just crazy because at that time I didn't even have a car, so I used to have to hop buses and cabs and trains and all that stuff. It was just crazy, man. So once I got a car, much better. But I was told that I want to be that present to where I take him in and everywhere with me, like grocery store to friends' houses. Like he go outside and work on the cars with me. I'm more of a handyman as well. So, and that's one thing I always told her. I try to make sure that he don't really need or want for stuff, not that much. Like because you got YouTube for everything. They teach you everything. So when people like, how do you learn all this stuff? I'm like, well, I just Googled it or YouTubed it. I saw how you fix this. I fixed it. I'm not gonna. I'm sorry, but I don't want to pay somebody $200, $300 when I got the tools to do it myself and put a little bit of time into it. Then it helped me to learn. Then my son, he don't mind doing it with me and stuff like that. And that's
Those are bonding experiences as well as educational experiences.
right. And then I issued a little bit is probably one of the main ones is she don't have the relationship that I had with them, but I told her, I'm like, well, that's something I strive for. That's something I wanted to have, whatever. You can have the same thing, but sometimes you don't choose to because she more of, well, I can't take him to the store because he's wild. I'm like, well, hell, he's wild with me at the store, whatever. But the difference is I just fight through it, or sometimes to make like a little bit of fun out of it. He running up and down the aisles. I gotta tell him 80 times to stop running and be careful, and you're bumping into people and you're not listening, you're in and out of the cart. But like these are the things that you just gotta, fight through or whatever and stuff like that. And I said when he gets older, I don't want him to be like he's the fun dad and mom is not. I want to be like
Right.
we got fun parents. Like my parents are fun, they're crazy, but I don't want him to look at me like I'm up here and you down here because we both dope in our own ways or whatever and stuff. So she had come around a lot more to where she interact with him a lot more, but she just feel like boys would be boys. I'm like, no, if I had a daughter, I'd be doing her hair. I'd be getting my nails painted, get my eyelashes done, little lipstick. I would do anything, with my daughter that I would probably do with my son or whatever. I don't think it's a, boy, man thing and a woman thing or whatever, So I help my son. He be in the kitchen cooking with me, all that stuff or whatever. I just want to have those experiences to where he could pass along to his family one day and stuff like that. And again, my mom and dad, they was separated when I was born, but my mom just made sure that I always saw my dad on weekends, the holidays, spent summer with them. And my dad has a fourth, fifth grade education. He barely could read or write. When I sent him birthday cards, I really had to read the cards to him. He'll look at a picture and laugh or whatever. He's like, well, I don't know what they kind of say or whatever. And I read it to him, but the time that we spent was more than anything. I don't care if he doesn't, got a, high school diploma, a GED or a master's and stuff like that. But just those summers, the weekends, man, I'm like, can't get him back. So that's why I try to be more present. So he'll know when he grows old, like, yeah, my dad, he only got a high school diploma, but to me, he got mad degrees, that's just spending them time and energy and the things that kids care about.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm glad he was there. Yeah, I think dads being involved are it's so incredibly important to just about everything. I mean, there's a real argument when you take dad out of the household altogether, that there's a lot of statistics on it that poverty increases, STDs increase, crime increases, gang activity increases, drug use increases, the socioeconomic conditions decrease, more reliant on welfare, you know, all because dad was taken out of the home. So you can really just make a huge case that sticking dad, even not a great dad, not a perfect dad, the weekends, or holidays and whatnot, that having dad involved at some level can really make a huge impact, economically, socially, in the community, certainly in the family, and it's just an incredibly important role. And then multiply that by, all right, let's actually make dads actually try and excel and be the best versions of themselves as possible, and I think you can have huge monumentous effects on the entire world.
Cause that's why you always hear sometimes like my dad was never in my life, so I don't care about this, or I don't care, and I don't, I'm sorry that they got to use that excuse, but I try not to, because I know some people that they have dads in life, they kind they excelled or whatever, because since they didn't have a dad, they want to be more present. But it's far and in between. It's more people that, like what you just said, that they don't have a parent in their life that goes this negative route than the ones that do be in their life and go to a positive route or whatever and stuff like that. So it's interesting and stuff.
And it's not a guarantee. There's a great story about some twin brothers, and their dad's just horrible, abusive alcoholic, and one kid grows up, has a family, picture perfect life, never touches alcohol, and researchers ask him why. He says, "My dad was an abusive alcoholic. I'm never going to touch that stuff. I don't want to live that life."
Right.
They interview the other twin brother, and the guy's a homeless drunk.
Oh,
and
wow.
Like, why are you a homeless drunk? He's like, well, my dad was an abusive alcoholic.
Yeah.
So I mean, in the end, it kind of goes, to your personality and to a person's choices, because humanity is complicated.
Right.
But as a dad, I guess we just want to create the best path for possible success,
Right.
for that next generation. Doesn't mean it's a guarantee by any means, but we do our best versions. There's going to be a much higher probability,
Right.
for sure. Can you hear those kids in the background?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
But my dad, they can be screaming everything, and I don't even it can be stuff blowing up in the back, and they're like, "You hear that?" I'm like, "Hear what?" You're so numb to it.
So when I try and zone in on work, I'll throw on the Bose noise canceling headphones.
Okay.
And that'll usually zone me out pretty good.
Yeah, you good now? Yeah.
Yeah, but that's not these. So.
Oh, okay.
I'm trying to think what else we want to cover. Co-parent. I want to stick with co-parenting. So do you guys have a path of you want to continue this way for X amount of time? Are you just kind of playing it by ear as it goes? I mean, if someone, one of you guys gets really serious in a relationship and I guess wants to move out and get married, that might be a possibility. Has that been talked about at all?
Oh yeah, that been talked about. She was like, "Well, it's just gonna be us and my husband, all in the same house." but yeah, eventually, I've been talking about, moving on out, and I think kind of what we harp back to is, I guess we are so close that even 5 minutes down the street or in a separate house, it just, and it's gonna feel different to where like I'm only like 5-6 steps away from my son. To be 5 minutes, then I either got to drive him over, he get dropped off. It's gonna be like a learning experience for me or whatever. And I don't know how much I would take that to where we all talking about even moving into a more bigger place to where I'm like, okay, you had a bottom basement, decked on out, full apartment or whatever. I had a top level and stuff like that or whatever. And it just maybe that might even work out. But far as being serious with somebody, we talk about it, but we just never met anybody to be serious with. Like, I'm still dating or whatever. And, I got a, a female friend, I'm very close with and stuff like that, but it ain't to the point that where, I'm moving out, or moving in with her at all or whatever. And she knows my situation and she's comfortable with it. Her and my son, mom, they're cool and stuff like that. But yeah, it just, I don't know. Like I say, I guess whenever it happens, I guess we'll talk about it like a little bit more. But roughly just what ifs, like, what if this happened? What if that? Are you cool with it? We both cool. We both want to see each other happy and successful. And if it's not with each other, then somebody could offer her that or offer me that, by all means and stuff like that. But it ain't really no rush into it. Like, I'm happy how everything is right now. And again, like I said, I'm only like a few steps away from my son. See him.
Yes, that's great.
Yeah, see him every day.
Yeah, maybe a duplex or something like that.
Right. Everybody had their own side. Might get like a mini mansion or something like that.
Listen, that'll work too.
Yeah. So, but yeah, co-parent. Like I said, co-parent is good. Like I said, a lot of people have been asking her how does it work. Some of her closest friends, we try to give them much advice that we possibly can. But like we always tell them, this works for us, because we have an understanding and we both don't like the drama. We both don't like the headaches. We both can talk to each other and stuff like that. But if you cannot even talk to each other, then it's gonna fail. Both y'all arguing and yelling around the kids. Honestly, I think if my son would ever see me and his mom argue, I know he'll probably break down crying, but it'd probably be like a shock to him, like a culture shock. It probably like really probably mess with him, whatever, because he never saw it. He never saw it. He might see a dad like a little bit upset, but it's never probably deal with his mom and nothing like that or whatever. So, but
yeah,
just to see us like arguing, screaming at each other, I know it probably would really wreck him, because all he knows is like, oh, my family is dope. They're fun. They're cool. I got cool parents. So.
Yeah, that's the ideal scenario, isn't it?
Right.
Happy house, mom, dad, kid.
Right. And I always tell her, man, I'm like, and I do this probably like maybe once a week or maybe even once every 2 weeks or whatever. I always send her like a nice little long text message. And one about saying is, I love and I appreciate you. And I always start off with that every morning. Like, good morning. Just want to let you know I love and I appreciate you, because I do. Like, I appreciate you just being a good friend, being the rock to our foundation, understanding me. I know us boys, because I always say me and my son, us boys can get on your nerves sometimes because we might be loud in the house. But I just appreciate that you just being in our lives and, being an awesome and dope mom and stuff like that. And then I just kind of add a little bit more to it or whatever and stuff like that. And I just always send it. It's to help her on out and stuff like that, because, people get so, how can I say, so into the routine, like you and your wife. Oh, wake up, hey, how you doing? You take care of your stuff, you take care of your stuff. And y'all get to a routine where sometimes you just need that reassurance. You just need that pat on the back. Like, I see you do that. Great job, mom. Like, I love you. I just want to appreciate you or whatever and stuff like that. Because, sometimes you just feel like you just, again, working, just be working. Like, man, I'm busting my daggone butt, but ain't nobody going to say like a good job to me. You're doing awesome. They just feel like you just wake on up and just want to work, 8, 9, 10, 12 hours, overtime and stuff like that. But every now and then you just need that little pat on the back and stuff like that. So I always try to give her like a picker-upper, because
you realize you sound like an amazing husband, like a world-class husband with all that stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, it's almost like you guys have like the perfect marriage.
Right.
It just may be open.
Right. And people always ask me like, man, when I be like dating or whatever, like, yo, you got all these good things. Like, what's wrong with you? What's wrong? Why you been single for so long? I'm like, sometimes I'm just so busy that where, a relationship takes like a lot of work. And, I'm so focused on being a dad that it's like my regular routine or whatever. So when I try to detour from that, I'm like, if I can't put 110% into it, then I just don't really try sometimes, so, but yeah, I told her, I said, man, I'd be a great catch, man. A woman would love me, man, but even when people think about me and my son, mom, they're like, well, why we're not together? And again, she's like, well, we are great how we are. We don't want to force nothing or whatever. And I don't want to lose my best friend because, we are best friends, but when you get in a relationship, that's a whole different ball game, a whole different chapter, a whole different rules and regulations. And then if it doesn't work out, it might mess up X, Y, and Z. But if it do, it's cool or whatever. But then she's told me before, she like her, she like her types, and I like my types, and this is how we go.
That's fair.
Yeah,
It sounds like you guys are actually quite alike,
yeah.
which might be the reason a relationship wouldn't work.
Right.
I've always heard that saying of if two people are alike, one of them's unnecessary.
Mhm. Yeah, because I would tell her, I said, man, I'll let you know, like as a friend, the friend and co-parenting, this stuff could fly. But best believe I with you, a lot of stuff you be doing, no, 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 no. I'm not gonna be having that or whatever. So, but she's great. She's awesome, man. That's my road dog. Sometimes we even go out, we go out to like bars together. We might see somebody, hey, he like a good catch, man. I'm about to bring him on over here for you. Of course, she'd be shy. She's like, no, 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 no. I'm like, yo, what's up, man? She said you look cute.
I'm trying to think. I'm not sure I have anywhere else to take this podcast. Is there anything you wanted to make sure you got said and or talk about?
We do. We do have our merchandise. Cause my son. That's another thing. So one time I think on one of our vlogs we're about to do, my son out of nowhere, he said that he loved me with all his fixed heart. And I just instantly just broke down, like I was crying and everything or whatever. I'm like, it just came out of nowhere or whatever. So that too went viral or whatever, because everybody like, oh, he got a fixed heart. He said he loved you with all his fixed heart or whatever and stuff like that. So we turned that into a saying in merchandise or whatever, to where we partner up with a great woman named Jessica Connor, and her platform is called Outshine Labels. And because her daughter has Williams syndrome, so she tried to just outshine the labels, because you get labeled as special needs and Williams syndrome and Down syndromes and the 22q and stuff like that or whatever, to where when people see you, that's all they look at. So she trying to change that narrative to whatever, to like, oh, my daughter just regular like you. She might take a while for her to comprehend a little bit, or my child take a while to walk or laugh or whatever, have emotions, but they're just normal kids or whatever. So she tried to just outshine the label that society put on your children or whatever. And then that been awesome as well, because I had been introduced to other communities for special needs that we just been partnering up, helping each other out with a lot of things or whatever. And just me getting a more understanding of other communities out there, try to be more of an advocate, not only for our platform, but other people's platforms as well and stuff like that. Just try to help many people as I can and shine light on all these conditions that I sometimes don't even know about or even can pronounce it sometimes, man.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
All right. Was there anything else you want covered?
No, that's base about it, man. It's been awesome though, man. Like I kind of like this one too. That went past that fast. God.
Tell everyone where they can find you.
Okay, well, you can find me on Instagram and YouTube, The Life of Chase Elijah. Chase is spelled CHACE, Elijah, ELIJH. And our nonprofit, we haven't started yet, but we're going to start. It's called Never in a Fight Alone, NIAFA. And you can find our merchandise at Outshine Labels. And it's called Love You With All My Fixed Heart. And it's for heart defects and other community as well.
Well, that's great. Well, I appreciate you coming on.
Another huge thank you to Robert for sharing that story with us. That was truly fascinating. That was definitely a unique story, and all the best to Robert and his son Chase, and the best of luck to him. Listeners, thank you for listening, and we hope to see you with the next one.